my mom is a superhero. It's crazy what she does for the team. Like, she gets all this stuff from the grocery store and she organizes everything, and she's always communicating with everyone. Like, none of the wrestling team's success, how we have really built the program, could have been done without her. And I think that she's my hero.
Hello, and welcome to The Perch, where we highlight authentic voices, expert insights, and meaningful conversation. The Perch brings the Kinkaid School's mission to life through stories of education, leadership, and community. Let's get started. Welcome back to The Perch, my friends. I'm Mike Murray, and first of all, I would like to thank all the listeners who've tuned in to The Perch this year. Our podcast was a bit of a new adventure that started this past fall, so we are thrilled that you have decided to join us again today. So for our topic, when most folks think about athletics, the first thing that comes to mind may be winning games, scoring a touchdown or a goal, or some other measurement of excellence in sports. But at Kinkaid, our focus is a little more holistic, part of it developing and supporting young athletes in ways so they can be successful in the next stage of their lives, beyond Kinkaid. Joining us today to help us understand a little bit of that philosophy is Kinkaid's own Director of Athletics, Coach David Holm. David, thanks for joining us today on The Perch.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
We also have two incredible senior leaders who are about to move on to the next stage in their journey. We have Grace Asali and Morgan Tannery, both from our soon-to-be graduating class of 2026. Grace and Morgan, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, excited to be here.
So am I.
David, you have been leading all the amazing athletic coaches and staffs here for years. I won't ask you how many years. And many of our student athletes do move on and play sports at the collegiate level, but many do not. So even though Kinkaid is consistently successful in the arena, if you will, can you share some of the foundational principles that lie beneath some of your athletic programs? Some of the things that help propel our seniors like Grace and Morgan to succeed off the field?
Sure. Well, I think it begins with our overall philosophy that this is an education-based athletic program. And, two of our four pillars in the athletic department speak right to that. And the first is the student-athlete experience. Everything that we do is geared on trying to give our students the best experience that they can have participating in Kinkaid athletics. And the second one is this core belief in the teacher-coach-mentor philosophy. We have great individuals. They know the games that they coach, the X's and O's piece, but that's just a portion of it. They play a much bigger role in the development of our student athletes, serving as teachers and mentors. I think our emphasis on using sports to help teach life lessons is key. Things like time management, teamwork, responsibility. Are great. And then really it's a comprehensive sports program. Our teams have cultures that they develop based off of the four core principles. We do strength and conditioning training throughout the year. We use our mental skills coach throughout the year as well. And then I think last, and what I've noticed at Kinkaid since I've been here, is Kinkaid kids love competing for Kinkaid. The fire that they have, coupled with the things that I just talked about, make this a really, really special place.
That was a wonderful wrapper around some very, very amazing and successful programs. I'm going to kick it over to your athletes now. Grace, I do understand that you're one of our athletes who is going to continue your sports career in college. And I also learned that you're the captain of both our FALCON field hockey team and our girls lacrosse team. I'm going to grab something from David. He mentioned that one of the pillars being a teacher, coach, mentor program. When you heard that, or when you hear it now, what comes to mind for you, a particular coach or mentor, or maybe just the program in general, something that helped you prepare for your next step?
Oh, I definitely think my coaches have been the most influential people to me, like throughout high school. Even my lacrosse coach, it's not my main sport, but she's been so supportive of me in like my field hockey journey, but also like me as a person. My field hockey coach, Coach DeConte, she's always there for me. Like I can't even explain to you the amount of times I've like cried to her, or she's been the first person to tell when I have something exciting. Like these coaches are all just so amazing, and they've taught me a lot. They've taught me a lot of leadership skills, and they've made me do hard things like outside my comfort zone on the field, but also when it comes to leading a team, especially these past like 2 years being an upperclassman. And I'm just so grateful for them. Like, I don't know if I'm ever going to have another coach like Coach Beth or Coach DeConte, but I was really lucky to have them for these past 4 years.
Morgan, how about you? For the listeners who don't know, Morgan has been a standout athlete at Kinkaid in both our football and our wrestling program for many years, including state championships in wrestling, and that was with an S, state championships. But Morgan, you decided to head down a different path after graduation. Can you tell us a little bit more on where you're heading after Kinkaid, and then maybe some of the parts of those foundational lessons that you plan to carry with you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'll be attending the United States Naval Academy next year. It's going to prepare me to be an officer in the Navy, a commissioned officer after. So I'll do my 4 years in college, and then depending on what job I get, I've got a couple, candidates lined up for what I want. But depending on what I get after that, then I'll commission for probably another 6 to 8 years in the actual Navy. And that was the end goal for me always, was to serve my country. So that was a big part. But moving back to the coaches part, I think really it's the coaches understand the importance of the sport, but also the importance of the person, I'd say, is even more important. I've had a couple examples. One was when we were training for John Cooper Week, big game, big SBC rival. They're coming up. Everyone's saying they're gonna beat us and everything because they got a good team. I remember we were struggling in practice, truthfully. And Coach Larner was getting on us for, missing assignments. And so, we were moving through it and we were getting it eventually. But I remember after our Thursday morning practice, Coach Larner sent me and Thomas Smith, our other starting linebacker, a message. And he was like, I just want you guys to know that you guys are amazing men, and I love to teach you. And I think the fact that Coach chose men over your amazing linebackers, your amazing players, really shows a lot about Kinkaid, the coaches we choose in our program, because that means he was more focused on what we were like as people and not if we were a good linebacker or not. So that's really important to me. Other than that, at least for wrestling, I can think about any practice with Coach Nelson. Anytime we're preparing, he always starts it, or he'll find a way to integrate it, that he is training us to be men and leaders of the world. We're not focused on wrestling. We're working hard, because we want to be better men. If you're, grown up and you're struggling in the workplace, that's what the extra sprint is for. The extra sprint's not necessarily third period, when it's coming down to the last seconds. It's for those times that we're preparing for in the future. And I just love that they focus on that more than necessarily, the wins or the actual wrestling part. I think it's very important for me and my team.
I love hearing both of them talk and share what they just shared in here. I think it speaks and gives incredible credibility to what we talk about is important, the teacher, coach, mentor philosophy coupled with the student-athlete experience. They're not mutually exclusive. And I couldn't be more proud of these two here and really all of our student-athletes.
Grace, I realized we talked about the Naval Academy with Morgan, but we did not share with our listeners where you are headed next.
I'm going to Stanford.
Excellent. Bar's probably going to be pretty high there, but that's good.
Yes, I like a good challenge.
You're both seniors, but I'm going to guess that athletic experience and some of the programs that David talked about started way before you were on the varsity team. Can you take me back, Grace, maybe we'll start with you. Take me back to when did you start playing either field hockey or lacrosse, or really just get involved in athletics and start to see some of the programs and start to experience some of, the foundations that we have here at Kinkaid?
Well, I think ever since I was in pre-K, I was a very competitive little girl. And I wanted to win every game we played. I wanted to be the girl in Boomer Ball where they were like, oh, stand back, she's going to kick it really far. Like, I wanted that for my ego. And then once we got to middle school and we got to actually play sports, like, that was my favorite part of school every day, was going to practice. And my field hockey team, we won HJPC, and my soccer team, it's still the best story ever for soccer because we were the underdogs, and we took our semifinal match into 10 rounds of penalty kicks. Like, 10 different girls on our team had to take PKs, and like some of them did not know how to, and like we were like, oh my gosh, are we gonna lose? And we won, and it was the happiest we've ever been.
That is awesome. Grace, you mentioned middle school. Can you tell me a little bit about the coaches and the programs that you went through in middle school athletics here at Kinkaid?
Yes, definitely. I think, well, for 7th grade, it was still kind of COVID, so we were half on Zoom,
Goodness.
We weren't really playing. But once we got to 8th grade, I had Coach Egg, the big Mr. Coach Egg's daughter, as my coach, and she was the best because she like related to us and she taught us. She kept us in line, definitely, but she was our friend too, so it really made the whole season so fun. And Coach DeConte also would help out, and I remember being really stressed out as a little 8th grader because I wanted to impress her to get ready for high school, and yeah.
Morgan, how about you? Take us back to when you started to get involved in the athletics program here at Kinkaid. You've got the bar's a little high here because Grace is starting in pre-K, and she sounds fierce at that age. But tell us about your experience.
Oh, absolutely. I came here in middle school, so I was real excited. 6th grade was so fun to get to try out all the sports. I knew I wanted to play football. I knew I wanted to wrestle, but that was such a joy. I remember I wasn't even a student at Kinkaid yet, but when I was coming in for the middle school admissions weekend or things like that, Coach Egg brought me out to play some capture the flag. And I just remember, that's when I knew I wanted to be at Kinkaid, because the passion he had for capture the flag, I knew he was going to take it to every sport. Sure enough, Coach Eggleston is one of the wrestling coaches, or at least in middle school, he helps out. And so that was so special to form that.
Thanks for sharing that. So, David, we've heard some amazing personal stories. Let's spread it out a little bit and talk about teammates. Where does that come into play in the programs and the foundations you talked about a little earlier?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very big part, and it's it's one of the things that I share with our student athletes and even our coaches here, and just encourage them to cherish, and I call it cherish the little things that you experience through athletics here at Kinkaid. And when I say little, it means at the time it might seem little, but it's part of the overall development. For what they're doing is they are creating memories and making memories that'll last a lifetime. And those little things are, how you feel after you've performed well, in a game, going to have lunch with your teammates after a practice, listening to songs together. Those bus rides together. Those are the things that really, again, speak to. We don't talk about them in the curriculum, if you will, but that combination of 100 little things creates that student-athlete experience as well. And I think it's something that they, I get to watch them do that, and I know it's important to them because they talk about it. And when they come back to Kinkaid and share stories with us, they talk about those little things that mean so much in terms of what they're doing.
So, Grace, tell us a little bit more about a memory or an experience you have of kind of progressing and moving along the path to success with a teammate.
Oh, yes. So, my freshman year, me and 2 other girls, Jackie O'Donnell and Lindsay Morgan, we all made varsity. We were obviously really nervous to play with, there was 8 D1 commits on the team, Mia Bello, Kyle Massey, all these amazing people. And, just to go back to what you were saying about, how teammates, how special they are, those girls are still to this day my biggest role models. And going into high school, already having 10 big sisters basically is what they felt like to me on the team. It was just amazing. I had so many friendly faces in the hallway, and I look forward to practice every day. And I think just that experience, like, that's something you don't see everywhere else. And another thing, like, I can always tell a Kinkaid girl, like, playing a sport versus any other school because we have a certain, like, integrity in the way we play. I think it's very different than other schools. Like, we respect each other, we love each other. We don't scream at each other in, like, a terrible way that I see other people do. Really focusing on not playing for yourself, but playing for the team. I think that was the biggest change even from last year to this year. I think that's the reason we won, is we weren't playing as individuals, we were playing for each other.
I'm curious, do you think you can take that with you to Stanford? And do I remember correctly from that class you spoke about that we have someone at Stanford playing field hockey?
Yes, her name is Claire. And then Jackie will also be going to Stanford with me, so
That's wonderful.
got the whole Kinkaid crew coming along.
Morgan, how about you? How much of a role your teammates played in your success, and a little bit maybe about how you bonded with those teammates?
Oh, absolutely. It's all them, and especially in a sport like wrestling. You know, they say it's an individual sport, and that's true. You know, you're getting on the mat by yourself and everything, but 99% of it is spent with your team, and I think that's so special. It started out my freshman year. I was fortunate enough to be elected captain with a couple of other guys, but you know, I was 14, and you know, I'm surrounded by these 17 and 18-year-old guys, and they really taught me what it meant to be a Kinkaid leader. Will McMacken, Nico Gomez, Colton Silverstein. I kind of took a little part of each one of them, I think, and the fact that they accepted me, even with my age, even with how they were older, you normally wouldn't see a guy like that talking to a guy like me. The whole team came together because of that, and I'm so thankful. And even moving up now, they taught me that's what it's all about. It's about talking your underclassmen. It's about teaching them. It's really about lifting the entire team up, like Grace was talking about.
Thanks for sharing that, Morgan. Just inspirational. David, let's pivot back a little bit. Earlier, you mentioned time management, and we had talked about some lessons carrying over off the field, and maybe into your personal lives with your family, with your friends, when you're not at Kinkaid.
It's something that we talk about. It's very deliberate. I mean, we'll give presentations on time management and how important it is, and particularly even in that transition when you're going to college, where you'll find that for the first time in your life, you're going to have more unscheduled time at your disposal than you've had before, and it's how you choose to use that unscheduled time, which will really give you a pathway to success. And clearly, sitting in between these two individuals in here, just really proud to be their athletic director and just listening to them, and more importantly, just watching them and observing them do the things that we've talked about here. I think they're incredibly successful, largely because of those life skills, and they're also really, really good athletes. But those life skills pieces really set them apart.
Well said. As we start to bring this to a close, I forgot a group that I think might have been important in your success, and that's going to be your family. Could you share either a story or maybe just an idea of what role your family played developing your values and how you approach life beyond the field?
My family, they have done any more work than I've ever done with contributing to my goals. It started since I was a kid. My dad driving me up to spring Klein, my mom driving me to wrestling practice, making sure I was fueled up before every single match and everything. And then moving into high school, it's been kind of in increments with that SBC. I took it one match at a time, and that's something my dad always told me, but he would be the one to give me a hug before the match. We always gave each other a hug before a match, and I did it for them. That's who I wrestled for. I didn't wrestle for myself. I wrestled for my family, and it's a big part of pride within me. The fact that I get to wrestle for the Tannery name. As silly as that may sound,
That's not silly
but
at all.
with that, it was really important to me to fight for my family. And I remember, at least leading up to it, my first SBC championship, it was crazy. I shot a double leg in these last 5 seconds, and my dad ran out of the room. I remember because I looked at him, and he ran out of the room. He was so overcome with emotion. My mom's crying, she's so happy because they knew how hard they worked, and they knew how bad I wanted it for them. The first thing I did when I won that second SPC championship my sophomore year and then my junior year was I looked at them, and then you can see it my senior year, because obviously I've been trying to lead up to this goal. I knew I could do it, and I knew I could make it happen. And instead of, looking at the ref or looking at something like that, the clock's ticking down, I just stare at my parents, and I am beaming, because I knew it was all for them. And I knew we had finally done it, And then with relation to the team, like, my mom is a superhero. It's crazy what she does for the team. Like, she gets all this stuff from the grocery store, and she organizes everything, and she's always communicating with everyone. Like, none of the wrestling team's success, how we have really built the program, could have been done without her. And I think she's my hero. It's truly amazing. And for my father, like I said earlier, the guy I looked at before every match and then the guy I looked at after every match, he's my guy. And he will forever be that guy that I think about, before my games, before my matches.
So, Grace, same question. The influence or the part your family, whether it's siblings, your parents, played in your success, not necessarily on the field, but maybe off the field and in life away from Kinkaid.
Well, definitely on the field, I think my dad's always expected the most from me, and he's been the one, he kind of started my drive, and then I kind of took off from there of just wanting to be the best, wanting to work as hard as I possibly can. And I just want to always make him proud. I think, my mom's just been my biggest supporter. I've dragged her across the country for field hockey, and we've driven from Delaware to Maryland to Pennsylvania in the middle of the night and all this crazy stuff. We've gotten on 5 a.m. flights to make it to SPC for lacrosse, but then also go to this college camp so that I can get recruited. Everything, she balanced it all so well. And that's why she was my biggest why for why I wanted to commit, is I just wanted to make her proud, and I wanted her to see that everything that she did for me, that was the most important part, and that's what made it pay off, and that's how I got to where I am. It was just everything that she sacrificed for me, because she sacrificed so much. And she's also the biggest cheerleader of the field hockey team. And when we won SPC, I remember I picked up the trophy and I was like, "Mom, we did it!" We did it, because she was probably more excited than I was, if I'm being honest. And I was really excited, but she was we were both just crying. And she's got her whole purple wardrobe. I guess she's gonna have to change it to red now. So
Wait, you said she's going to have to change it
for
not she could
Stanford.
change it.
She's
Yes.
definitely going to change it.
I love that. Grace, thanks again for joining us. Good luck at Stanford. I think we're going to be following you closely, as we do most of our field hockey athletes. So thanks again for joining.
Thank you for having me.
And Morgan, the Naval Academy, I think they're going to gain an asset who will shine in the tradition of that storied institution. Thank you for your time today, Morgan.
Thank you very much.
Coach David Holm, I think our listeners now understand a little bit more of the underpinnings that go way beyond success on the field. Congratulations to you, to all your coaches, all the athletic staff for producing such amazing young men and women.
Well, I want to thank both Grace and Morgan for for being here and for everything that they've done at Kinkaid. It's very easy to be very, very proud of them and what they've done. And if anything, it just makes me know what I've known for a long, long time. It's a great day to be a Falcon.
That's a wrap for today. The Perch returns again in 2 weeks with new conversations and stories about education, leadership, and community. Follow the Kinkaid School on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Also, the Perch is now available on the Spotify podcast platform. Finally, check out Kinkaid's website and read the Falcon Flyer for more on how Kinkaid supports our students and our community throughout the year. Thanks again for joining us on The Perch.